You guys stay. That wire's good and hot. We had some pretty strong winds the other day, so when I test hot wires, not only does it tell me that the hot wire is still working, but it also tells me that there's no branches laying on the fence, because if there was, the wire would be grounding out. How's everything? Cows are all looking good out here, and despite the fact that we've been going through some colder weather, I'd say the grass is still keeping up with them just fine. So no need to bring hay over here yet, but we're not out of the woods for this year. Things could still change. Checking cows at the winter pasture is always a nice way to start your day, but now my work begins. That's what's going on today on Farmer Tyler Ranch. In the last video, we took 21 of our calves down to the sale barn, so as a result, the calf pen is looking awfully empty now. I think there's only 13 of them in here at this point, and as you might imagine, that means that the feeding program here has changed as well. And because of that, today is a good day to take inventory on the hay, figure out what we're feeding, what we've got, and how long we can go. When it comes to hay usage, I always calculate it in bales per day, and that just seems to be the easiest, most accurate way to do it. For instance, the cows here at the ranch are easy. They're getting 1 bale per day. It's a nice even number. But the harvest steers over at the steer pasture are getting 2 bales per week, or 2 bales per 7 days, and that doesn't divide out evenly. But if we do 2 divided by 7, that gives me 0.285. We'll round it up to 0.29 bales per day. Now, do they actually eat 0.29 bales per day? No, but when you look at your hay usage over a week, that's what it is. So with all my groups of cattle put together, we are feeding 1.62 bales per day. We have 185 bales, which means we can feed for 114.19 more days. As I film this, there are 19 days left in January, so we can take our 114.19 number minus 19. That'd get us up to February, which is 28 days, so we'll minus 28. That gets us to March, which is 31 days. That would get us to April, which I believe is 30 days, minus 30. So basically, once April is over, we would still have 6 days worth of hay, so we can feed till May 6th. And of course, that figures that we're feeding at the exact same rate that entire time. But in that time period, we will be turning these cattle out onto grass. Their hay needs will be reduced or possibly go away altogether. The steers up at the steer pasture, that grass will come on during that time, so we won't have to feed them the entire way. The big unknown is the cows over at the winter pasture. If we have to start feeding hay over there, then that totally changes all these numbers. But I think now, if we've got enough hay supplied to get us to the first week of May, that even if I feed at this rate and I do have to end up feeding the winter pasture cows a little bit, that we should be okay. Some years we can quit feeding hay at the beginning of March. Some years it's the beginning of April, middle of April. It's rare, but it has happened that I've had to feed hay all the way through April, but I don't think I have ever had to feed hay into May. So in no way am I saying we're completely fine, nothing to worry about, but I am saying that the way things look now, things look okay. Well, now that I know which calves I'm keeping through the year, I would like to get them through here over the scale and get weights on everybody so that I can track their performance from this point on. But also, I'm very curious about the effect of weaning the calves, what effect that has on their weight gain. The last weights that we took on these animals was right at weaning, so that would have factored in them being on summer pasture plus mama's milk. Since weaning, they have pretty much lost both of those things, and they are just on the triticale hay. So it would be very interesting to see, with that diet change and the stress of weaning, what sort of effect that has had. Not only is it interesting, but gathering all this data is great to have for my own knowledge. And I think after a couple of years of doing this and averaging everything out, I can more than likely predict a harvest date for an animal just based off of their weaning weight, which would be pretty cool. And yes, the corrals are a bit sloppy. When we shipped calves the other day, it did rain, even though it wasn't supposed to. But you can see that these calves have access to this nice raised mound here and plenty of dry ground and green grass. The real challenge is going to be, there's two calves that are outside of the little corral here, and it might be a little tough to get them in because there's not really a good funnel to catch them here, but oh, there's three calves that are out, so we'll see how this goes. You guys stay. Oh, look at there. They just can't resist these little shreds of grass that are left in here. This is where we can really gauge a temperament of 2306. We got him out here by himself, and we'll see how he acts. It's about exactly what I want to see. He did trot a little bit, which I don't have a problem with. What he could do to make me think, oh, I shouldn't have kept that calf, is run all the way to the other end of the pasture and then stare at me with his head as high as he can raise it. Some calves do that, and that's just not the way you want them to act. You know, if he gets in a little bit of trot going into that corral, that's fine, but he didn't get into what I would call a panic. See how this guy does. 2331. Why don't you go on in there, boy? You got a lot of leg, don't you? Go on now. Go on with your friends. Go on. There's another one acting just the way I want him to. He's giving me respect and moving away, but he's not running and getting all crazy. So that's a perfect temperament. 4 of them are going up in that alleyway on their own, and the rest of these are starting to look at them. So I suspect that if I just kind of get out of the way, that they'll all start kind of moving up that way. And if we get a couple that hang back, we can come back and grab them. But if I can get them to go up in there where they think it's their own idea, things seem to go a lot smoother that way. Well, good girls. Good stay. While the calves are working their way into the working corral, we'll go ahead and get the scale set up. Let's do a test weight on the scale and see how close it is. That should be about right. I would say, if anything, that's on the heavy side, which indicates that the scale is working properly, because the biggest likelihood of there being an issue would be like something getting underneath the load bar, which would give you a lightweight. So by the fact that I know that's not a lightweight, at least, boy, I hope it isn't, I think we're all good to go here. Go that way. Go that way. He just does not want to go by me, does he? Go on. There you go. Clear shot. Clear shot. There it is. Who do we have first? 23-25. Okay, 2302. Camera? Oh, not okay. This one, how about? 2327, it looked like. Not that bad, you guys. Come on. You guys need to get out of here. Come on. .2304 here is the first one out of all these so far that has actually been losing a little bit of weight. So hopefully that had something to do with, you know, competition at the feeder, and now that there's less animals up there, hopefully he turns around and gets going the right way again. That works too. One. No, go the other way. There you go. Okay, let's go back to where you belong. Well, that's the last of them, and these numbers are really not too impressive, to be perfectly honest. My average weight calf in this group is 676 pounds. That part is not terrible, but the average daily gain for this group is only 0.63. That is down from around 2 pounds per day, which is where they were at right at weaning. So taking them off of mom, changing their diet, this is not doing them any favors. I definitely did expect their gain numbers to drop, but I don't know, I guess this is a little bit more than I had hoped. There could be a few things contributing to the low numbers. One being that up to this point they've had a lot of competition up at that feeder, which from here on out they will no longer have. And then also the protein of that triticale hay is not incredibly high. I think it's only around 10% anyway. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll weigh them again before they get some good spring grazing and see if these numbers improve at all. And that'll be useful information for me to have, because if they don't improve, then I know that next year we probably need like some alfalfa or some sort of protein supplement to help boost them a little bit. But this is the beauty of having a scale. Without the scale, I wouldn't know any of this. So we're learning. This is gonna make a lot of you very happy. Today, I'm cleaning the stock trailer. I receive a ton of comments of people asking me why I don't clean this more often, and really the simple reason is just, it's hard for me to get motivated to clean this when I know that I'm gonna use it in a few weeks or whatever. But now I think is the time of year where I go the longest without using it, so it is a good time to clean it. In fact, that's the whole reason that I got an aluminum stock trailer, is because I know that I'm not very good about keeping them clean, and aluminum does not rot out like steel does. So like if you do have a steel trailer, you really do need to keep it clean. If you don't, then they go south pretty quick. But aluminum ones, well, they can stand up to this. This is a great time to go through and inspect everything, see if there's any other cracks that are developing. Now would be the time to find them and fix them. There's a bunch of little hairline cracks. There's a bunch of little hairline cracks in the craters, but they're not spreading yet. I mean, they probably will one day, but I'm not too worried about those. But this one, the entire weld is cracked off of the sheeting piece here. So I'm gonna mark it and we will come back and fix that. In total, I was able to find 3 welds that I think I want to come back and repair. When you figure in how old the trailer is and how many welds there are, I think that's not that bad. This trailer was built in 2001. So it's what, 23 years old now? And for those that are wondering, this trailer is 7 feet wide and 16 feet long in the cargo area. I would have really preferred an 18 or even a 20 footer, but when I bought this, I was looking only at used trailers, and this was the best used one that I could find. So it's a little bit shorter than I want, but it actually, you know, because of that, is a lot more maneuverable. So there are some benefits to having a slightly shorter trailer. But a lot of people ask how long it is, and that's what it is. It's a 16. And I probably need to fix this little bumper here on the back too. There should be a piece of aluminum flat bar in there to kind of sandwich that up against the trailer, and it has broken off, and I'm not really sure where it ended up. So I need to get some pieces of metal to fix that, but it just seems to get worse. The way this happens is that when cows jump out of the trailer, or sometimes when they jump in the trailer, they try to use the rubber bumper here as a step. And, you know, it's not really intended for that. So when the weight of the animal pushes down on this, that's what causes that to tear out. And while I'm walking around looking at all the things that I would like to do to this trailer, another thing on that list is get a piece of aluminum flat bar to block this lower opening here. The main reason that I want to do that is just because when animals are in here, you guys have seen it before, with this being open, it allows manure to just paint the whole side of the trailer. And I think if we block this off, that this one is too tall to allow that, and it would just, you know, keep the outside of the trailer looking a little bit nicer. Not to mention the fact that if a cow, shall we say, decides to paint the trailer while we're going down the highway and somebody's driving behind me, well, I wouldn't want to be that person. But all in all, this has been a really good trailer for me. I've had it for a while, and I think that we finally reached the point where we need to start doing a little bit of maintenance on it. Their day is coming soon. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.